We're a tech company in Perth, in Australia. We come from process control, so we understand the sort of a lot of the process control type data, APIs, protocols, things like that. Been in pretty much in the resource sector most of our life. Then probably quite a long time ago, probably 12 years ago, we started looking at trying to use gaming technology, so pivoting. I think it's pretty common knowledge now that gaming technology is a huge industry and it is very powerful. So what we're looking at is, is it possible to take gaming technology inside our organizations and help it improve us safety, training, orientation, communicating, visualizing data, playing a part of a digital twin, that sort of type. Can we use gaming technology to sort of do all of these particular roles? And so what we've been doing is trying to find ways where you can take a virtual interactive environment of your asset or of your operation, and then how can you leverage that for multiple things? So how can you use that same game, like I'm sure you all know Call of Duty and Fortnite and things like that. How can you take that environment and augment and enable your workforce to be able to get information better, faster, quicker? The data you're talking about, Rob, how can you expose it in a way where someone is able to go to a certain place in the virtual environment and then it's all just there so that you can see whatever you want? I could keep going for a very long time, but I think I'll stop there.
Well, I think that one of the things that would be handy, because like when you're talking about gaming, you're thinking, well, you know, Call of Duty, I've got a gun in my hands, or Super Mario and I'm jumping up through levels on my production plant. You know, that what kind of technology are you using and how are you use? Can you show us like an example of the kind of things that you're doing?
Right, let me see how my sharing goes here. So this is just an example of something we've done, and I don't know, I'm not sure how effectively you all over the world will be streaming, but this is a video and I know there's a lag, so I'm just going to give you an example of, this is an example of something underground where you can go underground and you can watch how a drill operates. Now this is in virtual reality, but it doesn't have to be. And what we try and do is try and not get too hooked up about the actual technology you're using to display it. So most of the work we're doing now, you can run in immersive rooms, you can run in virtual reality. If there is a way, you can run it in augmented reality, but it's sort of creating applications like this where you are able to see what your equipment's doing in a way that if someone's never been underground, they can understand what it's like. If someone's designing something, they can review it. There's so many different type of things, but does that give you an idea of the sort of the platforms that we're doing? We use Unity predominantly, also a bit of Unreal as the game engine if you want to get technical, and if you want to get too technical, I'm the wrong person, so I'll try that.
So you mentioned quite a few different technologies there. How are you able to leverage those different technologies with the same kind of problem that you're trying to solve?
Well, I'll give you an example of what happened in history. So when we first started using Unity, we were basically doing data visualization. I just wanted to be able to a lot of our operations in Australia are remote. So we were trying to work out ways, how can I really understand what's happening out there without getting on a plane? And then back when Lucky brought out the Oculus SDK, the Oculus VR headset, we actually got it. I actually bought it because most of the people we employ are gamers and they're not that into mining and resources. So I bought it as a sort of like, hey, there's a toy, let's try this. But we were able to take all of our existing platforms and products and actually put it inside VR. So one of the nice things about game engines is that whatever technology comes out, like I don't know if you saw the new Apple one that's getting released next year, it will be able to run all existing Unity projects. Now I love it when companies say that, because yeah, you can run it, but can you actually, you know, can you open something and can you move and that's another story. But the if you use a technology like, we don't write the game engines ourselves, we use an existing game engine and they develop interfaces to all the new different technology stacks and devices that are coming out. And then we have to try and work out, is there a way of adding value with that technology? And virtual reality is a good one to talk about because it was quite hyped, and it's very good at some things and it's very bad at others. And I think in the hype phase, we tried to do everything with it, which was a bit silly, but I think that's normal in hype phases. But now it's much better. VR is very good for doing things like this drill. If you want to operate the drill, if you want to do something, VR is very good in that case. If you want to communicate or look at a plant, then VR can be nice if you're looking small, but if you're looking bigger, gaming technology on a screen is just as effective.
Okay, so it's not one size fits all. There's technologies you can use, but it really does have to be fitted to what's appropriate. So how do the users feel with this? Because traditionally, certainly in the training kind of space, it's the LMS. Choose one of the 5 options. That's your training modules. So how do the users interact with this, and how do you find that things like training are actually changed by the technologies you're using?
If you do it properly, you get people to actually perform the tasks and learn while they're doing it. So I'm pretty sure we all play games, and how you learn in a game is you fail until you work out what the right way is of doing it. So it's quite a different, and I know some training departments find that construct difficult, because when you train someone, you don't want them to fail. You want them like, well done, you've done that well, you've done that, this is all good. Whereas in gaming technology, you're actually encouraged to fail, experience the consequences, and then learn. If you can build training courses around that. So we did some work for CBH, where they've got to train a whole 2,000 casuals for a very short harvesting period. And if you can give them a game where by winning the game, getting to the end of it, you then know and understand when the truck comes in, when it goes onto the weighbridge, this is how you do things, and you have to do everything in a certain time and sampling thing. Then it's not the tick and flick. It's not read this, remember for a couple of seconds to answer the questions. You're actually doing the experience, and you're using that experience to be training, and that's the power of the gaming technology.
So how immersive can this be? Because I know that there's problems with VR headsets, and obviously a single screen. But how immersive can you actually get this?
We're doing. I'll see if I can get this. Get a video up on. We're doing some work with an immersive room, which is better. We're finding than. No, of course I can't find the video. Okay, there it is. So this is just some work we're doing. Let me share this. So what it does is it's a room. I think you can see Kim here is standing in a room, and there's screens all around him. So there's a screen all 4 sides and on the floor. And what we're playing with here, and why I wanted to show this, was because it's the smallest, weakest link we have to AI, is that he's using OpenAI's Whisper algorithm to be able to talk. So he just comes in here and he says, I want to move to the windmill, and when the command is recognized, and then you'll see I don't know if you're seeing, I don't know what the lag is like, but when he says move to the house, then the guy will move to the house. So that is another type of technology where you've got hang on, this might be better. So if you can see, I don't know if you can see this sort of environment where you've got, this is Craig, and he's in the room, and he's walking around this room, and he can see it wherever he wants to see from that. Now, it's interesting that the company that's using this for inductions on a shutdown, they much prefer it because no one has to put things on their faces. They can stand inside this environment, 5 or 6 of them at a time, and they can go through all of the things. So as this technology becomes cheaper, better, faster, we should hopefully, our goal will be to try and make sure that we can take that technology and use it for whatever impact we can deliver.
Look, I have got 1,000 more questions, but maybe what we might do is we might just open it up to everyone else to see if we've got questions from the floor. So, we've got a processing plant. We want to do some training around it. We want to build one of these lovely simulations. However, how do we get the data out? Like, will it automatically work? And what considerations do we have to do? Because, like, I just want to give it to you, and you give me it back in a week, and it's all done. Thanks very much. What do we have to consider whenever we're looking at our data, and what do we need to do, and what do you need to have in order for you to be able to get the best result?
Sure. So we've this is an interesting question, Rob. That we've been doing this for a while, and we found some things work better than others. So we've really battled is when a company like yours, Rob, comes to us and says, we want a fully simulated digital twin of everything that we can possibly do and think of in the future, and we want to be able to make sure that we can add a truck and take a truck and know everything. So you go into this massive sort of scoping phase, and you go into this massive costing phase and all the due diligence, and by the time you actually eventually start working, the technology's actually moved, so it's become a bit mute. So what we have, every single customer we've had success with in the oil and gas and the mining space have come to us with a specific problem for us to solve. So oil and gas, we had a customer that said that the Navisworks files were too big to run on their laptops. They can't find things. So we took the very large Navisworks files, put them into Unity with some development pain, shall we say. But when we got it in there, then they could literally type, I want to see where vessel 1001, and then bang, you could go there. And then they said, oh, this is great. Can we look at the documents? And then you slowly flesh out from there to there to there. So to start anything quickly, if you've got a 3D model, you can do things quickly. If your data and your mapping of equipment between your model and your data sets, I know that everyone in this room has got perfect mapping between all of their equipment and their data sets, then it's actually very simple. Where we find most of the time in these comes in is if you have a reasonable 3D model, it doesn't have to be perfect. The metadata inside the model normally has to be massaged in some ways to be able to access your SCADA system, your permit, your SAP system, your whatever it is. And that's actually, and this is why this is so exciting in terms of the data standards and stuff like that, because if we all stuck to a standard, it would be, if somebody came and said, hey, we've got a 3D model and we have all of our data is in the set, it wouldn't take long, not for us, but for anyone in this digital twin, digital visualization. If your data and your relationships, it was interesting what you were saying, Cal, earlier about the methods, the data is great, but if there's no links, accurate links between the different data groups, then it becomes much more difficult. Does that help? Yep.
No, yes, definitely, Doug. Look, we're going to go into a kind of an open chat with the group. So I'd just like to thank you, Doug, for taking time out this morning just to kind of give some thoughts on and some examples in kind of data visualization and what we can do with the data. And you don't think you only mentioned AI once, so well done.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Doug.